Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about Rustlings. What is Rustlings exactly? So, when you start out with Rust programming language, start trying to learn about it, the obvious choice would be to go to Rustlang book. So, the Rustlang book is written by the Rust community, and this book contains everything from getting started and installation to all the basic and the core concepts of Rust, stating what exactly makes it different from that to introducing new concepts like ownership and borrowing. So, after you go through this book and try to get a hold of what Rust programming language exactly is, when you want to start, do some coding in Rust, the obvious choice to solve some simple exercises would be to go through Rustlings. So, in this particular video, basically talks about how what is Rustlings, how do we get started with it, how do we install Rustlings, how do we solve a couple of exercises as well. So, when you go to a web browser and look up for Rustlings and go to the GitHub Rustlings link, this part basically talks about what Rustlings is, even tells you how to get started with it, right? It says that this project basically contains very small exercises to get you used to reading and writing Rust code. So this includes reading and responding to compiler messages. So in the Rustlings exercise, it basically has an error in it, a compiler error usually, sometimes a logic error as well. The compiler gives you the error message saying that, see, with this exercise there's something wrong with it. So you go through that exercise and you try to figure out what is wrong there and you fix it. Only then your code compiles and moves to the next exercise. So Rustlings also has exercises from basic concepts to pretty intermediate concepts. So right after you go through the Rust programming language, you could start working on these small exercises on Rustlings. So basically, how do we get started is it's as you could clone the repo here, but you could also just go and run this command as they say. For Windows browser, there is that. For Mac or Linux, there's the command. So uh, you go to your folder. I have created exercises folder. So I'm going to open my terminal here and run this command. So installing Rustlings could take quite some time because it's a pretty big package. Because not only do you get the Rustling exercises, you also get it also walks you through it. So it takes quite some time. It also has a lot of other packages that it needs to install. So while it does that, let us go to the exercise part and see what all do they have here. So it basically has introduction, a couple of basic concepts like variables, functions, if else conditions, primitive data types, vectors, structs, enums, strings, all of that, including lifetimes and generics and traits. Also, someone error handling, right? I see that it also has 3 different quiz. So it basically covers all the essentials that the programming language book takes you through. So this is the first video that we're going through in the book. Yeah. So it is installed. Here you should be able to see that to use this Rustlings exercise. After we go through the book, you also have another option that I forgot to mention. This is called Rust by example. So this is very much like Rustlings, but you could solve those Rust exercises online. So after we install, we can start with the exercises. So as they mentioned here, there are a couple of modes that you could uh, go through these exercises with. One of that is called Rustlings Watch Mode. In This is the one that they recommend to run our exercises in. So let us go and see how do we start this. So after I'm done with this, I should have my Rustlings here. Okay, I'm going to open this and open my code editor. I am using VS Code, so I'm going to do code space dot to open my VS Code. So here under exercises, I should have intro. This should be my first exercise. So let's try to run this. To run this, I just have to type Rustlings. So as you can see, it says welcome to Rustlings. I could use Rustlings watch mode. Oh, I should be from the Rustlings. I should use this from the Rustlings directory. Let me cd into that. So when I get into that, I do Rustlings watch. So it says, this is what I was talking about here. Not only do you get the rustling exercises with all the topics that I mentioned earlier, you also get this nice interface where it shows your progress bar and it says what exercise we're running. And then it also gives you instruction as this is our first exercise. So basically, I am supposed to go through an exercise, finish it, and then remove this comment line I am not done for me to proceed to the next exercise. Okay. So I'm here at Rustlings. First exercise. Let me try removing this comment line. Okay. So I have moved from that to the first exercise. I'm into intro.2 now. This file. So it says error. This error is intentional. Do not be alarmed. It basically says, like I mentioned, the rustling exercise is designed in such a way that each exercise has an error. It could be programming error, a logical error, a compiler error. It says that there is this error. As soon as you fix it, and then you remove the I'm not done commented line, you proceed from that exercise to the next one. If you want to keep working on the same exercise, you basically, I'll show you as we go along, but you basically do not remove the I'm not done line. So it is giving me an error here. It's basically a simple hello world program. So let us first move into intro 2. I'm going to fix this by saying that this is hello world, and I save this file. I have moved, right? So I am able to compile this intro.2 and I'm getting my output, but I have not moved into the next exercise because I've not removed this I am not done comment. So if I want to change anything here, I can do that and I can save. My auto save is on, so that's done. So it's reflecting here in the screen. So I can keep playing with this exercise as long as I'm comfortable with it, explore whatever I want to, and it won't move to the next one. It will compile and show me the output here. But the instant I remove this line, as I mentioned, I should be able to move to the next one, right? So the instant I remove this I am not done line, it moves to the next exercise. So right now here the first topic is variables. I'm in variables.1 file and there is a error. It says in line number 11 x is equal to 5, but it's giving me a hint here. Rust compiler, it's saying that I might mean to introduce a new binding length here. So let us go to the exercise and then find out what is the problem. So I have to move to variables under variables, variables.1. So here basically the error is saying that it is not able to print because x is not found in this scope, and that is because they cannot find the value x. So when I go through the code here, it says function main x is equal to 5, print x as the value 5. So in variables, we have learned in the Rust programming language, Rust lang book, that when I want to initialize a variable, when I want to tell Rust that x is a variable, I have to use the keyword let, or I have to use the binding let to let the compiler know that x is a variable. So when I introduce let here, it's supposed to compile. Yeah. So it runs successfully and it says x has the value 5. It's giving me the output, right? So I think by now we should get the general idea of how to use Rustlings. So in the terminal, it automatically not only shows you the progress bar, it also says which exercise it's running, and then it is also giving you the output along with a hint. So we could also take a hint. I'll show you how to do that as well. Sorry, I am supposed to remove it. I'm not done. When I do this, it moves to the next exercise. The next exercise is variables2.rs, and then it's giving me an error here. Let us go through the exercise first to see what it is. So it says function main let x, if x is equal to 10, print it's 10, else print it is not 10. So here it says that type annotations needed, aborting due to previous error. So it's expecting us to tell what type is x. I am trying to compare in line number 10 x with an integer here, that is 10, but I'm not mentioned what exact type does x take. So first I could do this. I could do x takes say u32 and then see what happens. It says that u32 binding declared here but left uninitialized. X used here but it isn't initialized. So it wants me to try initializing a value to x. So I could do equal to say 10, so that it prints my if condition. Yes. So when I declare that x is 10, it's printing my if condition. When I declare that x is 0, print my else condition. So that part is clear, right? So now that I've already mentioned that x takes 0, I need not mention that it is of U32 type because Rust compiler should be able to infer its type, since I'm saying that x is of 0. So even now it is able to say, it is able to understand what type is x and then print me the proper output, right? So let's move to the next exercise. I'll do that by removing this line. Yep. So the next exercise is variables3.rs. It says function main let x, it'll take i32 value, print number x. I think even here the problem is that we have not mentioned, we have not given x a value. So let us see what is the error. X used here but it isn't initialized. So I could give x a number, say it will be 5, and when I try to run it, it's giving me the output 5, right? So say I do not get this exercise. Say I do not understand what this exercise wants us to do, and I would want a hint to move forward. So here in the comment section, it's saying that execute Rustlings hint variable 3 or use hint watch subcommand for a hint. So if at a later point in time you're stuck with an exercise that you do not understand how to proceed, you could just simply give the command hint here, and then it gives me a comment saying, oops, in this exercise we have a variable binding that we have created on in the first line in the main function, and we're trying to use it in the next line, but we haven't given it a value. We can't print out something that isn't there. Try giving x a value. This is an error that can cause bugs. That's very easy to make in any programming language. Thankfully, the Rust compiler has caught this for us. So not only does it tell me about this particular exercise, it also says that by Rust compiler catching this error for us that I have not initialized the variable but I'm trying to use it, it is avoiding a whole class of bugs which could be possible in some other programming languages. So I get my output, I can remove this line and then move forward to the next exercise. So next exercise is variables 4. Let's take a look at the code. Variables 4. Function main, let x equal to 3, println, I'm trying to print the value of x. X is 5, do not change this line, print x. So let's take a look at the error. The error is saying that cannot assign twice to immutable variable x. In the basics of Rust, we've already learned that any variable that we declare in Rust is immutable by default. So I have to introduce a keyword here to let the compiler know that the value of x is going to change in the program. And I cannot alter this line. They have commented here not to alter this line. I could just remove this entire code snippet and get it working, right? But they want me to fix this piece of code snippet without altering that line. So I introduce a mute keyword here and this should work. This exercise basically says that the variable is immutable by default in Rust. So I have to explicitly mention that this variable x is going to change in my code, hence say that hence introduce the mute keyword. So once I've done that, it should work. Now I can remove this. Sorry. Yep. Now it has moved to the next exercise. Let us go there. Variables 5. Let number 3, don't change this line, println, spell a number, and I'm trying to print the number equal to 3. Don't rename this variable, println number plus 2 is this. So I'm trying to print number again. So I have one variable, its name is number, and I'm going to give it a type of, I think that's ampersand is there, right? Ampersand is there. So I say that number variable takes ampersand str and I print it. Okay. But then I say number is 3. This is an integer. I'm trying to say that number holds the value of type integer. I'm trying to print that. And they don't want me to change this line and they don't want me to rename this variable. So the error says mismatched type. I think the concept that comes into picture here is shadowing. I want to use the same variable name and I don't want to, and they are of different types. So when I say let mute number is this, number is that, let's see what happens. We still have an error. So I'm going to say hint to see what it is. In variables 4, we already learned how to make an immutable variable mutable using a special keyword, which is mute, right? Unfortunately, this doesn't help us much in this exercise because we want to assign a different typed value to an existing variable. Sometimes you may also like to reuse existing variable names because you're just converting values to different types, like in this exercise. Fortunately, that's the powerful solution to this problem, shadowing, like we mentioned. You can read more about shadowing here. Try to solve this exercise after using this technique. So it's asking us not to change that line. Let's keep it there. Let number is that and I'm trying to print it. So in shadowing, I have to say, I have to use the let binding again. So I say that let number, the number variable takes type of ampersand str, and then I say again that this number is going to take the type integer. So I just have to use the let keyword again. You could, so it works here. If I just type hint again, you could go to this page, go through shadowing again, see how it is done, and then move forward, right? So right now it is giving me an output that this is the case, and I'm not changed this line, right? So remove this comment to proceed to next exercise. So it says missing type for const item. Let us go there and see. Variables const number equal to 3. So this is a constant and the name of the constant is number, and I'm saying that the number is 3 and I'm trying to print here, and it says missing type for constant item. So it's expecting us to declare what type is the number. So I'll say it is U32 and it is running successfully. So let us try to uh, get a hint here, just for the sake. As far as my understanding is, when we declare a constant in Rust, we have to explicitly mention what type will it hold, right? That is why we faced that error earlier. So when I say hint, we know about variables and mutability, but there is another important type of variable available: constants. Constants are always immutable and they are declared with keyword const rather than keyword let. Yes. Constants types must also always be annotated. This is the reason that we were getting an error, because our constant type was not annotated. When we explicitly mention what type uh, our constant number is going to hold, then we move past this. I believe this is the end of variables. So let us try to go through all of these exercises one by one in the coming videos. Thank you.